What's up, bro?
What, bro?
What's up, bro?
Take a swing, bro.
Right here, bro.
Let's go, Sondheim. Wipe the street with his punk ass.
What makes you the authority, bro?
West Side Story, bro.
What, bro?
Sweeney Todd, bro.
What, bro? What, bro?
Merrily we roll along, bro. Why you gotta disrespect, bro?
I do respect you, bro.
Show some respect, bro.
I do respect you, bro.
Stop disrespecting, bro.
I respect you, bro.
Okay, I respect you too.
Okay.
We're going to talk about something that we never talked about. Our time on Voices of Misery. So, okay, here's what happened, guys. I've been getting hit up messages for the last couple days about some Voices of Misery podcast, back and forth with another podcast called the Your Random Podcast. And you know, some of what happened, as far as our exit with Voices of Misery, or how our relationship ended, was made public. Now, me and Ian, when this went down, we decided we weren't going to talk about it. It wasn't going to be something that we wanted to get into because, you know, we got other things we can do with our lives to focus on. And to be honest, like, you know, like, there's kind of like an unspoken code almost at times behind when it comes to media. Like, you don't want to blast people's personal bullshit, your personal bullshit, because whatever you said can be taken out of context too. So like, there's a two-way street in that. And I tried to also remain professional, and I didn't say anything, and I had no intention of saying anything ever. However, there was some issues that came to light. So I'm going to give you a very quick breakdown of what happened, on how it all went down. And then I'm going to tell you what happened what happened the last couple of days. So the first thing is I brought Voices of Misery on as a sponsor. You know, they sponsored Hami Media Group. After bringing them on, it was pitched to make them a show. I initially pitched them. I was declined at the time. Then they were initially pitched again. This time it was accepted. So they joined the network. They were on our show for a couple months. I said, hey, man, would you be interested in adding our Suck My Ball show? He said, yes. He added our show. So now we're on their show. Okay, we're on their platform.
Right. Okay.
Everything's going good for
everything's cool. Everything's cool at this point.
Everything's cool.
It's cute, Jeff.
We scratch your back.
Exactly. So they were on, you know, we were on their network for another 3 months. I think we had 10 episodes that ended up being on there. So 2.5.
And we were 10 episodes deep.
Right. So they, unfortunately, and this is admittedly by him, he said this on his podcast the last 2 days. He has an issue drinking, and unfortunately, he gets inebriated to the point that he might consider himself blackout drunk, and he says or does things that may not be beneficial for himself. Those are his words from his podcast the last 2 days, guys. I'm not making accusations. I'm just telling you what he said, and based on my experience, now looking back, I can say, okay, what he said at the time, he probably didn't mean because he was really drunk and saying some stupid stuff. I'm not excusing the behavior, but I am accepting and understanding now of what he was in at that mindset. Ian, he's also bipolar, like all of us. So, like, there's also an emotional mindset I get when you get drunk and you say something stupid, because I've done it, and you sure hell have done it.
I've done it so many times. How do you think I got Aubrey Huff to fucking tweet us?
Joe, I don't know if Joe, you saw that.
Joe,
No, I didn't.
I got Aubrey Huff to give us a shout out. He was like, hey, go check these guys out at Suck My Balls podcast. He was like, #nerds. Because I sent him I was fucking drunk, okay? And like, you know, I was stupid. And I sent him a message directly, and like, it kind of went back and forth between the two of us, and then he shouted us out, dude. It was so funny.
We were like, yo, he just sold for us. Because Ian did it privately in the DMs. I was like, he just sold for you? We were like, oh, man.
I get a text from Matt. He was like, bro, we do not want those kinds of texts. And then like a couple hours later, I was like, look at this. It's working out, dude.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I don't know if we want that kind of, I told you, I was like, I don't know if we want that kind of attention. But then I really looked at it, and I looked at the conversation, and all he did was like, yeah, hey guys, check out the Suck My Balls South Park podcast. #nerd alert. We were like, yes. Anyway, but yeah, so everybody does and says stupid things when they're inebriated. It happens.
I don't even need to be inebriated. I'm unmedicated.
I'm on that same level too. I don't even have to be. I'll just say something fucking stupid.
Yeah, I'll just say stupid shit. Or I'll
So
fly off the handle.
so from there, he accused me personally, and I took it personal at the time. I don't now, but he accused me at the time of being against his show, that I wasn't a fan of his show, and that I did everything that I could to try and restrict his show or whatever it was, or badmouth his show. And that could have been his case of own drunkenness, right? You're mixing with alcohol, medication, you create paranoia too. Like, I get that. So like,
Right.
I'm not gonna
Maybe
hate
he's just a little like,
on edge, right? So I'm not gonna hate on it. But what set him off was, I guess, he thought that like I was watching him maybe on social media and taking the same ideas in which he was doing, and then initiating said ideas and not giving him credit. Which, like, to his from his perspective, now that I've seen it, I can understand it. If you post something and then somebody else posts something similar, you're like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't he at least credit me? I get it. I understand it. But at the same time, like, I wasn't following him like that closely. Like, it wasn't like I was watching his every tweet or Facebook or social media and then going, oh, I'm going to do that. Like, I wasn't doing that.
And as an outsider on this, looking in from a totally different industry, I don't know how much you're aware of what we've been doing. We just did a BLM fundraiser that had all black wrestlers, black referees, black announcer, black commentary, everything but the camera crew, basically.
And you, obviously, though.
No, I wasn't the promoter. I just helped with it. But Joey was the white guy promoting it, but everything. And now you go on social media, there's at least 10 shows with the same name, the same concept, and that's just part of the business. If you have a good idea, people are gonna bite it. That's how you know it's a good idea.
Now, in this case, I will contest.
And I'm not saying you bid it. I'm not saying you.
Well, what I'm going to say is, in this case, I will contest the a notion of his anger. I think was a little trivial because it was over a Discord. He was just like, I said I was going to start a Discord, and now you're starting a Discord. So, like, in that aspect, like I said, that was where his own frame of mind was at the time. I'm not going to bash on that, but the concept of getting upset over that, I'm going to say, is a little meaningless. So that's what I'm not upset about. I'm like, okay, whatever.
And it's like, he's not the first one to have that idea.
Right. No, that's true. But again, we don't need to dwell on that. Just to continue the story along.
And I'm sorry for butting in.
No, it's fine. No, but just to continue the story along, he ended up right then and there, I guess, because I posted something about due to Discord. He blocked me. He blocked me on all social media, blocked all my stuff, and then he immediately deleted us off of Voices of Misery. So I was a little upset because there wasn't even a conversation that had happened. He just did it. And then this died down for about a week. And this is where I'm going to stooge off information that nobody knows, because I didn't take this public, but I have to now because the other person kind of dropped part of the story. So I want to explain. We got into a conversation, and it didn't end well. And because of this conversation, I had prior knowledge that probably I emotionally took advantage of and reacted to. And that was, I had a conversation with somebody, Big Ray, and based on our conversation, and I have the text and the lingo, Ray said, if you and Voices of Misery cannot work out your issues, I have already told them that we are going to part ways, meaning that they would be off of our network. Now, he told me this, so now I have this going into the conversation, so I'm still trying to go in very professional, but I also know going in, well, if this doesn't end well, then I don't have to worry about this, but let's try and become amicable. All I wanted at this point in the conversation was just an apology for how he reacted publicly, because he went on Twitter and started bashing me, and then he came into our Twitch stream and he was intoxicated. That's all I wanted, the apology for that. I didn't even care about him kicking us off the network at this point. That was done with. So at that point he said he would never apologize to me and basically told me to go F myself. And this conversation led up. So now I'm emotionally built up, Joe. I'm trying to be nice, and this guy just continues to push my buttons. I have access to the Hami Media thread. Yeah, I'm already emotionally hyped up, and I've been told he's going to be gone if you can't do this. All right, well, fuck you, dude. You're gone. So that's what I did. I deleted all of his shows. Now, obviously, that was a big no-no. I, A, don't own the network, so I shouldn't be doing that. And B, it wasn't my place to do that. Okay? So I got reamed out, of course, and I apologized and I had to make amends. But once I explained the situation, Ben, the owner, he understood.
Yeah.
He was like, okay. He's like, but let's just move on. No more drama, no more bullshit. He's like, it doesn't affect our overall downloads. It's just like you're removing previous content that you've already posted. So the downloads already happened. They're already on people's phones. It already been listened to. I'm not necessarily hurting anybody, right? It's just it hurts. It's bad for business. So that's the story, guys. That's what really happened between me and Voices of Misery. I acted emotionally and I did that, but that was also because I had information that said that this was going to happen. I just shouldn't have been the one that acted on it. Okay.
Right.
So that's the breakdown. That's the fallout. Now, what happened afterwards is I had a conversation with Ben. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't cause any more drama, and we moved on. So that was it. That's where it ended. And I would have never brought this up had all this information had now come out. Now, here's why I had to bring it up. So over the last 2 days, Voices of Misery ended up leaving Hami Media Group because they had a falling out. And I don't want to go into their business. That's their whatever. And you can find it out by listening to the podcast, guys. But basically what happened is they had a falling out with the Your Random Pod network because the Your Random Pod network had all of their stuff removed from the Voices of Misery network because they had a falling out with them. So the Your Random Pod network then went out and did a podcast and they aired out all the dirty laundry. And Ray then, of course, dropped the part of this story. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to clear it up. And then after dropping part of his side of the story, then Voices of Misery came out. Okay, so Voices of Misery comes out. They come out with their own podcast. So I start getting messages from a couple different people, and they're like, "Oh, dude, they're talking shit about Suck My Balls. They're saying your it's a crappy podcast and blah blah."
You're a crappy podcast.
Hold on, Scoop. I'm gonna clarify. So don't start getting angry. So. Basically, they're like, Matt, they're talking shit about You're a towel, exactly, right? So I was like, You're a towel. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go listen to this podcast. So I went and listened to the first podcast, and the first podcast, all his wife said was, I don't like the name of their show, and I don't like it. That's it, guys. That's not talking shit. So I'm just saying I'm not offended by it. I appreciate that you listened to our show. And you felt like you wanted to tell us, hey, man, these guys aren't talking nicely about you. That I do appreciate, guys. But to me, that's not talking shit. If you don't like our show and you don't like the name of our show, that's not for you. And that's okay. We'll move on. We'll concentrate on people who like our show and interact with us and like South Park. So no hate on them for that, right?
For real, like that's what?
So there's no hate for them.
We're not middle school guys. It's not.
And she explains throughout her podcast that she is I hate to use this word, but she says it admittedly. She says she's a prude. So she doesn't like the name of it because it's called Suck My Balls. She doesn't like the concept of suck my balls, okay? So, and that's okay. And she probably doesn't like some of the content we talk on our podcast too. And that's okay as well.
But hey.
And that's okay as well. So like for that, I'm not going to shit or get mad and get upset, guys. I'm not clapping back, okay? The second thing was, then I got another message that was like, yo, now they name dropped you, Matt. Now they're saying you're working with this other podcast to send out personal information about them, like their names and address. So I was like, yo, I'm not doing that. So I quickly sent him over an email, and I'll stooge this. I sent over them an email and said, yo, I got nothing to do with this as far as your guys' interactions. I didn't send off any emails. I didn't send off any personal information. I got too much good things going in my life right now to hate on you or hold a grudge, bro. So, we're all good. Peace. He responded back and said, I respect you reaching out, saying thank you, blah, 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 blah. I'm glad we can end this amicably. And that was it. So, that's it, guys. That's our beef. Okay? That's the story. That's the breakdown. We have nothing more to do with this, and we are not going to bring it up any further. Ian, did you have any final thoughts?
Hey, man.
Check my bows. All right, guys. Let's get into another edition of Check Man Bows.
The bro down is over. Let's bro out. Bro out. Party people. Yeah. Oh man, I'm so glad we put our differences aside. That's what bros do. That's what bros